And for this second talk, the topic will be hotspots of innovation. Innovation from research universities and public research institutes, of which the panels include Professor Dr. Ahmad Fauzi bin Ismail, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Research and Innovation from University of Technology Malaysia, Professor Dr. Harith bin Ahmad, Distinguished Professor, Faculty of Science, University of Malaya, Datuk Dr. Abdul Latif bin Mohmud, Chief Director, Forest Research Institute of Malaysia of FRIM, Dr. Muhammad Fakri Zaki bin Jaafar, Deputy Director of Innovation, Promotion and Marketing, Putra Science Park, University Putra Malaysia, Datuk Dr. Zainal Abidin Muhammad Yusof, CEO, Standards and Industrial Research Institute of Malaysia. This session will be moderated by Datuk Insinyur Haji Muhammad Azman Haji Shahidin, CEO of TPM. But before we invite our moderator up, I just want to share with you a brief introduction of our moderator, which is Yang Berbahagia Datuk Insinyur Haji Muhammad Azman Haji Shahidin. Yang Berbahagia Datuk joined TPM in 1997 and has been leading TPM as President and Chief Executive Officer since November 2006. He graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in Civil Engineering from Glasgow University, United Kingdom in 1984. Prior joining TPM, he has held and managed various key portfolios in reputable conglomerates such as MMC Corporation Berhad, Sunway Group Berhad and Messrs, Syed Muhammad Hui and Bini Sdn Berhad, which is a consulting engineers firm. With more than 25 years of professional experience in handling various multi-billion ringgit projects in infrastructure and urban development, property development and investment, technology management, vendor development programs and projects in the oil and gas industry, Datuk Insinyur Haji Muhammad Azman Haji Shahidin has developed strong technical, business and commercial acumen and has proven to be the main thrust driving the growth of TPM's success. With that, let's give a round of applause to our moderator, Datuk Insinyur Haji Muhammad Azman Haji Shahidin.
Thank you, Mr. for a very good introduction of my background. I think it's a little bit more than the resume. First and foremost, I would like to welcome everyone here. Today, in this session, we'll be having 5 distinguished gentlemen to be presenting and sharing their experiences in the innovation of the public research institutes and universities. And I would like to welcome first and foremost Professor Ahmad Fauzi Ismail from UTM. Welcome, Prof. The next speaker will be our distinguished Professor Ulong Datuk Dr. Harith Ahmad from UM. Datuk. And our third speaker today will be Dr. Wong Weng Chun from FRIM. Welcome, Prof. And then we have the fourth speaker, Dr. Muhammad Fakri Zaki bin Jaafar from UPM. Prof, welcome. And finally, our fifth speaker, my colleague from MOSTI and SIRIM, Dr. Zainal. Okay, gentlemen, thank you for sparing time and coming over to this session for the Innovation Talk Show. We'll do a informal way of presenting our experiences in innovation through your life experience in the universities and in your workplace, as well as through your interaction with industry, as well as through your interaction with your research. I think the audience need to know in terms of the hotspots. Hotspots means areas or location of intense activities. Here, I think it's defined more innovation and research and development. So in this session today, we have identified the universities which you guys are in, and what are the experiences we can share with us, the success stories, the problems that may arise during your innovation activities in the university and research place. Can we start with Professor, Professor Ahmad Fauzi Ismail? Okay. I will start with a brief description of you guys based on the biodata I got from MOSTI. Professor Ahmad Fauzi Ismail is the founding director of the Advanced Membrane Technology Research Center, and he's also the Dean of Research for Materials and Manufacturing, Research Alliance of UTM. Professor Fauzi obtained his PhD in Chemical Engineering from the University of Strathclyde in 1997. He has won more than 120 awards, and among the outstanding awards are the Malaysian Young Scientist Awards in year 2000, the ASEAN Young Scientist Award in 2001, 2 times winner of the National Intellectual Property Award, Patent category, 2 times winner of the National Innovation Award, and also he was recently the National Academic Award for Innovation and Product Commercialization. And on last year, in October 2014, Prof. Fauzi also won the Institution of Chemical Engineers Innovator of the Year Award. So he's a very, very accomplished professor here. Currently, our Prof is also the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Research and Innovation in UTM. So, Prof, can you start the session today? By
innovation is okay.
Is the mic okay?
Okay. Thanks, Dato', for the kind introduction. Thanks for inviting University Technology Malaysia to share some of their initiative on innovation. So, to be honest, I'm in this position as a DVC R&I just for about 3.5 months, very short period of time. But what we can see from the perspective of a university is we need innovation in order for us to position ourselves regionally as well as internationally. People in university always curious about the way forward of R&D. You know, traditionally, research and innovation was only positioned as a paper base, you know, to get promotion and so forth. But in recent years, with the initiative and the way forward in our Malaysian government aspiration to become high-income nation by 2020, whether we like it or not, innovation is the catalyst. You know, we cannot afford anymore to become a user countries. We were a very good, loyal user countries for so many years since 1957. So right now, what we need from university professors, young lecturers, and our other human capital like postgraduate students is how we can transform their mindset, you know, from a fundamental research into applied and eventually move a few steps further to become more entrepreneurial. The problem from the university point of view is our professors were not traditionally trained as an entrepreneur. That's why from university UTM point of view, we put that entrepreneurial mindset as one of our tagline. And not only that, we do not want to become jago kampung. Kata orang kampung saya orang Melaka. Saya from Melaka. We do not want to become jago kampung. Yeah? We want to become Jago Global. So how to become Jago Global? Innovation, which the ability to transform whatever knowledge gathered in the university to benefit the society, industry, and so forth. And this need the interaction between the four parties, you know, the academia or researchers, the industry, community, and pemberi dana, which is the government. That's for now.
In terms of, I mean, UTM, personally, I mean, from your own experience, how do they actually inculcate innovation among the...
Now, what we do, and then this history, in university, many other, Professor Ulong itu pun, you know, Prof. Haris, also have the same mindset, probably. Historically, professors are so isolated for some reason. So what we do in our university, we would like to break that silo mindset. What we do, we have initiative, we call it Research Alliance. You want to have a project, research funded by whatever, you know, managed by university, you have to have a group of researchers. If you came to us, to university, alone, as a Fauzi, to ask for a grant, we will say, Assalamu alaikum. If you come as a group, inshallah. If you have a high impact proposal, mashallah, we give it.
Okay, for the next speaker, I would like to invite Professor Ulong, Dr. Arif Ahmad from University Malaya. Probably you can start, Prof, on your thinking of how innovation should be actually. The mic, please, for Prof.
I think you got the control over your side. You have the control with you? Tak ada. Tak. Tadi ada siapa? Technical assistant? Boleh?
Okay.
Okay, this is what they call high tech. You find that you are given all this facility, you don't even understand how to use it. One of the most important things I think has been said very well, is well said by Professor Fauzi on research university. I think both of us from the university may have some opinion here from the research institute. We have different job functions. One of the most important, the tech like today, is innovation. As Steve Jobs said, to move forward, you must have strong innovation. And how could Steve Jobs come to make those type of statements? First, we must understand, innovation prevails very strongly well in countries like United States of America. If you are born there, you have great ideas, you find that you can innovate extremely well because they have the good infrastructure to support innovation. And similarly, you have countries like in Europe, they are also struggling with their innovation. Of course, all these countries, the Western world, they have organic growth. They are being pushed forward strongly by their industry. The industry was there first. You may have come across in school, Industrial Revolution. I'm very sure most of us study Industrial Revolution. So all these countries have very strong industry. Now, to understand innovation, to really implement innovation, we have to have a very comprehensive view. We have to understand the value chain. First, we must understand the value chain. We cannot profess innovation without all the support system in place. Of course, you find that we expect so much from the people in the university, as been mentioned by Prof. Fauzi. You have high impact project, mashallah. Sometimes can be masalah pun. But the main thing, like I think if you want to expect people in the university, also in the research institute, to come up with innovative idea, to me, I strongly believe that you have to have the value chain of innovation. Because I do understand, because I spend a lot of time doing research, I never hold any administration post. Because I'm just people at the ground that undertake research, and I understand the obstacle that we face all the time. Now, to really realize innovation, first thing we have to be very clear what we want from our people. If you want our research university to be a knowledge-based university, because we have to have a culture of knowledge. So you have to create a good knowledge-based culture in a university. That's why we have research university. Research university is purely to undertake research and publish paper in high-impact journals. So as what been mentioned by Prof. Fauzi, we're trying to move out from Jago Kampung, but first we must start from Jago Kampung. Okay? We must start from somewhere. Once you start, you can play the game very well. Just like our footballer, they play football now well compared to last 10 years. So you have to start somewhere. So we have to provide the arena for these people to perform as Jago Kampung. Eventually, they will move out. So in the research university, our premise was set earlier in last couple of years is to publish good research work and in high impact journals so that we become very competitive in knowledge-based community. But along the way, certain expectation has been put forward. We expect to make product. We are not factory. It's impossible for us to move from research into factory because to become a factory to make a product, let's say I have great idea. I can make maybe this bottle to fly. This water, suddenly I can create a wing and can fly. So I'm able to conceive idea. I'm able to innovate in terms of prototype or in terms of idea. And I'm able to develop the concept and also how to make the thing fly. But to make the thing fly, I need not only me, I need a lot of people in the value chain. I need people like engineer who can give me an interface, electronic, LCD, communication to this bottle to fly. So I need this group of people. And then I also need people who can package this bottle. I want to make it something looks better. I need people who can package. I need mechanical engineer who can design all the product. So if you expect innovation from research to product, you need a whole entire value chain. We have to understand that. The policymaker has to be very clear what they want and what we need to be in place before we can even realize any product development. So to make product, you need research people. You need people like TVET. TVET is a very important thing. It has been done quite well for the last couple of months. We are trying to emphasize on TVET education because we need people like engineers. Most engineers that we have in the university are the academic engineers. They're good in theory, they're good in concept. In fact, you ask them to do soldering or you do something, they find difficulty to do that. So you need people with great practical hand skill. So these hand skill people come from vocational training, trades. These are important group of people. To make a country move, you need at least, if you have one engineer, academic engineer from the university, you may need about 4 or 5 people vocational to support any development from idea that you conceive in the research university into a product that end up in the industry. So you have to have all these things in place before we can even have a dream to have new product like Steve Jobs. He has great ideas. Steve Jobs can dream. He can dream great ideas. If you look handphone, he dreamed the idea of heaven. He create lifestyle. Steve Jobs, Apple is nothing more than a lifestyle company. No different from Starbucks and so on. It's a lifestyle. Why you pay coffee 70 ringgit when you can get Mamak coffee for ringgit? But you want to be there. In Starbucks, people see you, drink expensive coffee, but the coffee tastes the same. You can't even differentiate. I don't think your tongue will be able to differentiate the extra ingredient in the coffee that given to you by Starbucks. So what is there? Lifestyle. It's all about lifestyle. Steve Jobs sells you lifestyle. So these are important things. So if you want to have innovate, maybe you have to find ways to create a new lifestyle to people. So when Steve Jobs dreams, he has the whole machinery to realize his dream. If I have a dream, it's just a dream only. Because I don't have the whole structure to support me. So what I'm trying to say now in the most simplistic manner, to understand innovation, to realize product, we have to understand the whole holistic value chain of product development, and we have to provide this support so that things that being undertaken research in the university can be realized in product. As you know, we are very new to research. Only in 1995 we start with RM5 that support research. I may take a bit more time, sir. I hope you don't mind. Just to elaborate the point. Yeah. Okay. We start in RM5, 1995. The Free Mission Plan. A small amount of money was being put on the table. A lot of people go for it, and then we are now RM11, RM10. So along the way, we spend about 20 years in research. You must understand, you must compare. We only spend 20 years in research, as compared to America, they spend few hundred years. So what do you expect? You cannot expect us to do wonders. So 20 years, you will get 20 years output. So you have to expect, it may take another 10, 20 years before we can be very competitive. We can compete people from the state or people from Europe. You must give that period of time for us to be able to compete and to build up our strength, to build up our expertise, our group of people that can eventually compete and move out from jago kampung, maybe jago dunia. Kan? I think we always have very low opinion about jago kampung. So to me, it's very important. I think the most important thing that we have to understand, I bring out the one important point. America prevail innovation because they have support industry. You must understand what I mean by support industry. They have all the industry to support ideas and to bring ideas into market. And Europe are doing the same thing. They are not doing as good as the American, but the Japan do very well, and South Korea do it very well. And also Taiwan. Taiwan, they have a lot of backyard industry that support ideas that go back into the market. We do not have that. That is one thing clear. We do not have that. We only have high-end research, but it stops at the lab. We are not able to translate down to the market. So I think we have to give time. We have to come up with new policy, new ideas, how to generate the value chain such that the idea that conceived by our brilliant scientists like Prof. Fauzi can eventually be translated into a product that is marketable in this country. And there must be a market opportunity, a take-up market opportunity. The phrase that I'm going to use, a take-up market opportunity. We have to provide market opportunity, domestic market. If not, you find that you cannot market your product worldwide if you do not have a take-up opportunity in the local industry. So the GLC, the government, has to come up with some clear policy, a very clear affirmative policy to support product development in this country and take up. And eventually this product can be further improved and make into a better product. Eventually we are able to compete in the international market. So we have to be very clear, our policymaker has to be very clear on this, how we take up this product into the market, provide the market opportunity. Our GLC has to be more responsible, not just to run on numbers, profit. Anybody can run on numbers, but are we helping the country to build up a new country? Are we a country as what we are last 10 years? In next 20 years, are we going to be the same country as what we are now? Are we going to move out from what we are now? It's very important. GLC is a big organization that must support all the development or research undertaken by university to bring the product into the market, provide the opportunity for these people to sell the product in the GLC. Eventually, they earn income. They are very motivated. They will improve the product, and I'm very sure they can market the product to the world. There is no obstacle, no mind obstacle for these people to conceive great idea, great innovation to market the product. First, you must give them opportunity for local market.
Yeah, thank you, Prof. So market and the complete value chain analysis.
You must have complete value chain.
Dr. Wang Chun, coming from the Public Research Institute on Innovation. Dr. Wang, by the way, is the Director of Innovation and Commercialization Division of FRIM. So FRIM, as you know, is the #1 research institute on Malaysia's biodiversity and the treasures. Dr. Wang, can you present to us your innovation experience?
With your permission, I'd like to stand up and present it.
Okay.
And can I use this slide? This will lead on from the two professors. I think we have something there, so we can fill the gap and the value chain. Hopefully, we can explain better.
Okay.
Can I have the slide, please?
The one.
Boleh? Mana? Oh, okay. So press the green button. Okay. Now I'm glad the two professors have brought up the whole idea of progression from R&D outputs to innovation and commercialization. So I put it in words nicely. Anticipated this will be the topic that will be brought up, and this is what we did in FRIM. Right from the beginning, we as a technology office, commercialization unit, the first thing we get is research project completed output. Please commercialize our output, Professor, right? I have a problem with that. Why? Right from the beginning, as Professor says, you want to commercialize your R&D output, you need to do a lot of work. Not a research scientist who conceptualized the idea. but also engineers, technicians, marketers, economists to package the product. Who is your target beneficiary? Who is going to benefit from your R&D output? That is a value change. Further down the road, we haven't even started the commercialization process. That is the beginning. But unfortunately, we were left with that. This is what I have done, and please commercialize. Make it by hook or by crook, get it done. But sometimes the research are not commercializable, does not meet the requirement of the industries. That is where the problem is. If your research tak boleh pakai oleh industri, siapa mau commercialize? That is the issue. So right 5-6 years ago, we realized, FRIM realized that this is a major problem. We have to revamp our R&D management, Prof. Go back to root. And the potential is that we need a very knowledgeable person in charge of screening all the research output. Kalau tak ada, you put a junior officer there, you will not get anything. Because, with due respect, he has not the exposure to the market and doesn't know what is important, right? So, first thing, for any organization, whether it's RI or universities or research institute, you get the right person to sit in the commercialization unit and do the screening yourself. Don't leave it to your junior officer. The boss, if possible. If possible, the director general should sit down with the director of commercialization to screen through potential R&D output that can be commercialized. I think that's one major issue. Of course, you have to know how to protect your IP. And that is a mistake, and we learned from FRIM. 30, 40 years ago, we started with the rubber wood industry. Now it's $1 billion ringgit, 8 billion ringgit manufacturing wooden furniture export. So it's a major one. But FRIM did not protect because we used to find the technique to protect the wood using boron treatment. That was 30, 40 years ago. And we did not patent it, we did not protect it. And now it's everybody's intellectual property. Everyone can use it for free. And when you ask, who developed the rubber wood industry? Nobody knows, remember FRIM. The industry asked, are you aware that FRIM developed the borates? No, we did not know about that. They asked the Taiwanese group, Evergreen, Green River. They are big players in the rubber wood industry in Thailand and also in Malaysia. They say, oh, we did not know that. We did not know that FRIM was the inventor. Right? So having learned the lesson, 20 years on, we started protecting our IP right from the beginning. Once after that, then we decide whether we want to go jaga kampung or jaga dunia, global, PCT. Get the 30 months leeway to learn, to get an industrial partner. That's where, Professor, you need to industrial collaborator. Research university and government agency RI tak cukup engineer, tak cukup industrialist to tell us how to upscale our prototype to industrial production output. That is where the issue is our prototype. We develop researchers, boleh pakai 2 kali 1 bulan. But when you go into the industry, they do it 365 days without stop, just like the airplane. They land, half an hour, 1 hour later, they fly back. 13 hours to London and London back to Malaysia, non-stop. And for maybe 30 days or 15 months before they go back for overhaul the service. So the industrial requirement is that your prototype must be robust. Boleh tahan lama. And you go into the industry, it can last for 365 days, if not 300 days. At least I stop 30 days for maintenance. This is the requirement. So that's where we need. And after that, we find commercialization funding, right? So the next one, quickly, this is what we incorporate right from the beginning, professors, the DGs, head of department, don't expect overnight commercialization. As Prof says, it takes 25 to 30 years. But I think there's a way. Go back to your research management, change it. Right from beginning, project proposal, each individual researcher put up, do patent searches. Tak ada orang mention, patent searches is important. Why? Because this is where the current technologies of the world are being filed. You can get US patent. So do patent searches, patent mapping, and evaluate your researcher's proposal. Is it the requirement of the industry? Has someone already done it before? So don't waste time. If Steve Jobs has done something already, don't waste your time there. We will never be able to market that technology. So look into that patent mapping, technology evaluation. Which area that we should look at? FRIM, we will narrow it down to forestry. No. We have widened our scope, including from the ground to the space. FRIM is involved, which is surprising, right? Forestry Research Institute, how can you be doing other things? Forest biodiversity for us, okay. So soil science, we go into soil. Up in space, environmental issues, rainfall, climate change, part of FRIM. So we are expanding our scope, looking beyond forestry and wood-based product, right? So you need to start from research proposal, project evaluation by panel. Every time you go for a evaluation of your research, look at the patent. Every 18 months, every month there is new publication of technology entering the market. So at the proposal stage, from the completion stage, there may be a lot of development in the area, right? So this is very important. Do it. Change your research management. And it's a hard thing, you cross border. So we have a lot of problems there. But now the directors, researchers are slowly, we train them to understand what is the whole idea. Integrating R&D with commercialization. That is the aspect, do it together, right from the beginning. Then, Prof, I assure you, you will not face that much of a problem, right? We are starting midway, and then we have all this problem, right? Okay, next look at that. Of course, you want to protect, you want to commercialize, you must have an IP portfolio. If you don't have an IP portfolio, what to commercialize? Every time you complete a research proposal, you put up, we go and commercialize. Tak boleh jadi. That will not work because you have no strategy and you don't have a portfolio. So we took 5 years to build up our portfolio frame. Not very big. We file about 6 filings a year. So cumulative over 5 years, we got about 30, 40 active filing. But it takes about 3 to 5 years to be approved, the patent. And to shortcut it, if you file for PCT, you think it's world-class, file it in the US patent office. They can do it within a year. We've done it before. We send one, do a PCT, file in Malaysia, do a PCT. Within 1 year later, we file. And we got it 12 months later. The US patent office came back, yes, it's patentable. And they granted us a patent. And from there, with the confidence, that is world-class. Then from there, we get a collaborator, come, this is world-class, US patent bagi, bukan jago kampung. They bought in. And we are in the process of commercialization now. And we went through technology, we need to build up. And we opened our eyes because our technology was completely upgraded, changed. Nothing like the original, but the base is there, right? So then who are the beneficiaries of R&D? That's important. You must consult your stakeholder. Prof, you need to go back. Of course, don't expect the professors to do it because technology office should help. Professor is busy teaching, inventing ideas, right? Doing his innovation. But the technology office and other support unit should help. Get the industry to sit down and present your proposal. And then you identify pre-commercializing partners. That is the stage. Get the technical people in. Susah. I agree with you, very difficult to find, but most of them are not serious. They are after money. I'm very direct, after government grant. Many of them are not serious. But if you can find a potential collaborator who is in the business and really interested, it works wonder. And we have the experience, and we were lucky we got one who went through the process with us and changed the whole system to upgrade. But the technology, basic theory of concept is there. Then, of course, we think of how much to give, exclusive or non-exclusive, right? Initially, nobody wants to take it, so we sweeten the deal, exclusive license. You market it in Malaysia. Then the rest of the world, we give you the first right of refusal. So it's too tempting. Of course, they pay a licensing fees, but we try to lower the licensing fees so that they will invest. Right? That's one of the major problems. Kita charge 150 ringgit, 150,000 ringgit aja. But that's also very, very, very expensive. They want free. FOC kita boleh lah, exclusive right. See? Everything they want free. But free things are no good. We found that. No matter how good you are, anything free also is no good. They don't value it. So we decided that maybe we charge 50,000. But in the end, we say, let's try. Give it a shot. 150,000. Surprisingly, they're willing to pay. So we say we got a nail one. Hopefully this is a good collaborator. Then this is where you get your money back. If it's successful, Prof, royalty, charges and licensing, royalty. Every time you do sales, that's where you take back. If the licensing fees you get invest, tak boleh jadi, then royalty tak ada lah. So you don't get any return. I think it's fair to the collaborator. He's taking a risk. So the money plow back will be through royalty. If it's successful, the margin will come, the sales profit will come. And then you get a 5%, 10%, or even 3% of the total. If it's a few billion ringgit, like 8 billion ringgit rubber wood export, well, that's a lot of money. 3% is very good, right?
Yeah.
And this is yearly, recurring expense, recurring income. So that is our way of looking at it in film. Then, with the commercial partner, barulah boleh upscale to commercial prototype. Now we are talking, we have our experience in the high temperature drying rubber wood. Now the factory has moved to Sinawang. Sinawang Industrial Estate, 5 acres. They have occupied the former Lenchong industry. They've taken over that. They built 12 kilns now. 6 kilns in running and 2 HDD. So now they're expanding. So with that experience, I think we are qualified to say that we have learned a lesson and we have found a successful model. And we are replicating for other research. Now there are another one on termite. That's another issue. I had a big problem. What to commercialize on termite genetics? Susah. I sat down with the researcher and talked for 2 hours, 3 hours. Don't know what to do. What is there to commercialize? But after a while, it came. Certification. Termite specialists give you warranty, guarantee 1 tahun. After termite treatment, no re-attack. If there's a re-attack, they will do it for free. But the clause is, if the same colony comes back, they will warranty. But if it's a different colony, different species, no warranty. That's where FRIM comes in. We certify that that is the same species. The genetic code works. So we found a business certification. FRIM acting as a middleman. Then identify major users of your output. Very important. We go for multinational. We deal with rubber wood. Who is the biggest multinational company using rubber wood in this world? In the world, IKEA. Right? IKEA is one of them. So our first idea was, we send our wood using high temperature without chemical to IKEA. See whether they accept our wood or not. Don't be afraid to fail. If the buyer say, yeah, bagus, yours is world class, I like your wood, I will use it. Then you have your market. Then you don't worry about the small manufacturer. They follow. IKEA is a major buyer. They specify supplier pakai HDD Malaysia. Nowhere in the world. We are first in the world. So come back to Malaysia, go to this company, they provide HDD, high temperature rubber wood. That is the idea. So we took 3 years to break IKEA's barrier. They're coming next week to Malaysia, talking, coming to FRIM, expand further research. So now we are opening up not only the rubber wood, into other facilities that FRIM offer. So our breakthrough camp, after 5 years of hard work, this is the result. Okay. Branding. Now we have reached a stage where we need to brand. Our technology has been copied in China already. Before we even commercialize full, China sudah copied. But fortunately, they copied the wrong version. Tak boleh jadi. Right? So that is another, you need to brand. We have created certification scheme to protect our technology. You see the word FRIM HDD, high temperature drying. Patent, trademark license, we got the trademark in Malaysia. We are trademarking it in Thailand. Thailand is a major rubber wood player. We are also going to apply in China, Vietnam, rubber producing countries. We are going to do that. So this is where you can protect further down the road. And of course, optimizing your cost. If I want to invest in the factory, how much? You say 100 million, nobody wants, they'll run away. You say to do 3, 4, 5 million maybe. Then we are trying to do that. So reduce it to the cost where you can sell the same price as the normal, traditional way of treating rubber wood. So it's sama harga. What else do you want to argue? Same price, good, better quality wood, chemical free. And that's what the world wants. So the supplier changing now. So we were lucky and we had a downturn at the bottom of the rubber wood market. A lot of KD plant, treatment plant closed. So this one buy over, take over, refurbish their factory and start selling. So we are breaking that barrier. And then market promotion. So these are important areas. Okay, in summary, I hope I'm not occupying too much of time. Patent, very important. Publish, Prof, we need to publish. Otherwise, tak boleh jadi professor. When I pangkat pun susah. And commercialization, one more. We need to commercialize. Okay, so with that, I will end my presentation for the time being. So, Prof, I hope I have answered some of the, provide some model for you to, hopefully can be adopted in other organization. All right, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Wong. For our next speaker is from UPM, Dr. Muhammad Fakri Zaki bin Jafar. Currently, he is Deputy Director of Innovation, Promotion and Marketing at Putra Science Park, UPM. Doc, can you start with the...
May I use the rostrum
Yes.
instead? Yeah. See, because I'm a lecturer, I'm more comfortable giving talk standing. Yeah? Okay, first of all, thank you very much for the organizer, for the people, for the esteemed speaker we have on stage, for having me here this morning. Actually, I'm at a disadvantage point of sitting on the fourth chair, because all the points I've written has been touched by the rest of the speakers, so I'm left with nothing to say actually. Well, I try my best. I think most of the pertinent points of innovation from the university side has been touched and has been discussed by our esteemed speakers before me. But I might add another perspective of the whole issue of innovation and commercialization. I recently came across a report by the OECD publication on innovation. They have found out, after looking at lots of data, innovation through patent commercialization and licensing of patent is pretty difficult. So they are suggesting we might need to enlarge our definition of commercialization by university to include other mode of commercialization, such as consultancy, research contract, placement of researchers in other research institute. These are actually can be translated as the transfer of technology and commercialization of universities' intellectual property. So this is something that might need to be put in perspective as well. So having touched that, may I ask everyone here to go back a few years back to the scenario of the research and innovation at university. I think if most of us remember a few years, maybe many years back, the idea of a university is the seat of learning and teaching. So a lot of researchers came to the university with the idea that they have to teach, to produce skilled workers, to produce knowledge. And then recently, not very recent, but a few years forward, we realized that we need to do research. So a big effort on national scale that need to be put in place to steer the sentiment of researchers, the sentiment of university lecturers towards research. And this was done not that easy, because to change that mindset. And we can say that we are successful in doing that. A lot of lecturers in universities are now doing research, and we are quite at a good position globally. And then more recently now, people are talking about commercialization. And this is not the area of comfort for a lot of lecturers in universities. They are so used to teaching and research, but when we talk about commercialization, there is a lot of barriers, and we should understand that the nature of the philosophy of lecturers in the university are not naturally commercialization. Even now, when you're pushing towards that, the intrinsic sentiment is still there. So what I would like to propose in this meeting is to see commercialization not just in terms of the successful licensing of patents, which is very, very difficult and very costly, but other mode of transfer of knowledge as well. So that is one of the points I would like to ask, to highlight this morning. The other one is, when we talk about innovation, there is a very familiar phrase called the valley of death, whereby an innovation fails to go to the market because it failed to traverse this valley of death, where like 90 or 80% of innovation fail because it cannot make that jump from the university to the industry for many reasons. So one of the reasons is the university are not equipped at upscaling. Most industries, when they come to the university, They ask, do you have a product ready for us to sell? They are looking for product that is already ready to jump off the shelf. And this is not the case. Because at the university, we are good at doing research, but we are not good at producing it at larger scale. You need somebody to invest on that. You need a very coordinated support system to traverse the valley of death. And luckily, we in Malaysia, we have a lot of assistance in that area. We have government funding through various agencies. So this is, well, fine and beautiful. But when I was lucky enough to be on a visit to Silicon Valley a couple of years back, one thing I noticed is that they have no government funding to traverse this valley of death. All are taken up by angel investors, venture capitalists, and these are the people who make innovation works. So my second proposal is that there, in terms of the university side of paradigm of shift, that is happening. But what I would like to highlight, also I would love to have more industrial partner in this kind of talk, is there also need to be a paradigm shift on the industry side. We need that special class of investors who are daring to jump in right in the valley of death, where their business model is very different from most of what we have around today. So that is my proposal, that maybe we need to start to groom and nurture our investment community to start to look at this. We need to develop that necessary investment skill to invest in technology. And the benefit of having it from purely the industry side is these are business people who have the necessary due diligence to assess whether an innovation can be successful in terms of making it to the market or not. So there are other few points that I think I would leave it to the discussion. Maybe some will be discussed by our last speaker. So that's it from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doc. It was a very interesting proposal. The last speaker, Dr. Zainal from SIRIM, Dr. Zainal. He has an interesting model to show.
Yeah, I would like to present standing up, at least to follow the trend. I'm from SIRIM Berhad. The name also different from the rest here. We were the same before, but when the word Berhad came in, it translates into a serious problem for us. The difficulty that we have is everything become bottom line, profit and loss. A profit makes us happy, a loss makes us very sad. But then we are in this business of technology development and this business of commercialization, and we have heard previously that commercialization is not an easy thing to do. Then for us, how do we do it? I'm faced with this situation. If we are in this business, we must make money. And this is a challenge that is faced by us. And alhamdulillah, the government is also concerned. I think if you listen to the Prime Minister's budget speech last year, there was this statement saying that the rebranding of SIRIM. So it can mean a good way forward, but it can also be a chopping of your head if you don't perform. Yeah? So today I'm going to elaborate a bit some of the new models that we are going to present to you on how SIRIM can play a role interacting with the university, working together with the industry so that we can move our agenda of speeding up commercialization in this country. So what we are looking at is looking at various models in other countries, especially in Europe. We were asked to look at this Fraunhofer model. We have Fraunhofer representative in Malaysia, Dr. Ahmad Ibrahim, with us. If you ask more about Fraunhofer, he will be able to answer much better than me. But we're also looking at another model, the successful Eastern model, E3 model of Taiwan, how Taiwan was able to translate a lot of new innovative ideas into products. And working together with MOSTI in a different manner, where the industry becomes important. Yeah? The interaction within CIRIM. CIRIM was lucky because we do a lot of industry-related services in our quality-related activities, in testing, in certification, in calibration services, and so on. So there is already a direct relationship with industry. Now we want to do research with the industry, we need to follow through with them. And when we look at CIRIM, what does we do? What should we do? Because, of course, in research, it comes from the ideation process, the fundamental research. We don't think that should be the role of CIRIM. It should be the role of university. And we should do three things that is important. The applied research, taking the innovative ideas, the IPs from the university, taking the next step to applied research, and then productization, because a product that was in the drawing board from the university, when Steve Jobs first developed the Apple computers, it was as big as this rostrum, I would say, yeah? And you need to productize it. You need to package it into a very presentable idea. And the other issues are market access, regulation, regulatory requirements, necessary quality certification, and so on, so that it meets the market and safety requirements, and so on. So what we hope to do is be able to play this role and do the linking, so that we can help the industry, especially the SME, to adopt this innovation and technology and move their productivity forward in the future. At the same time, looking at E3 model, we are also looking at, can we also encourage our researchers to be also entrepreneurs through an intrapreneurship program we call spin-off arrangement, where team of researchers, it is possible for them, if they develop a good product, to leave CIRIM and develop their own companies and take that product to the next step. At the same time, we look at working with universities, as I mentioned, in the form of what we call the Industrial Center of Innovation, or IC Innovation. I will elaborate further on that in the future. The model we're looking at is CIRIM to play a middle role, where we work together with industry. Yeah? So CIRIM working closely with industry, at the same time working together with the university, playing that role of developmental activity. Yeah? So emphasis on more working with industry, that means market-driven. We have to work with university to get the IPs to support the ideas. And at the same time, this has to be formalized into company. Yeah? So basically, there's a big transformation in the way we do research in CIRIM. Because previously, our researchers have been facing MOSTI. Yeah? So developing research proposal, submit to MOSTI, getting grants and do research, then only we go to the industry for commercialization. But now we are changing. We have to face the industry first, interact with industry. We are doing now, we are being funded now to do technology audit with the industry. We work with industry, and from there, get the ideas, get the need of the industry, then only we now face MOSTI and say, we are coming out with a proposal together with this company, so that it move forward with a proposal. So the project, the current approach become 80% technology, that is currently 80% technology push, become 70% industry driven. Yeah? So that's the shift that we are trying to do moving forward, CIRIM approach in the future. So in this, we have to collaborate. CIRIM by itself, although we have about 500 over scientists and engineers in the whole setup, it's not enough to support a good innovative process. So we have to interact and work with the university to get the IPs. We have to work with industry and so on. So now we are starting to form what is called the Industrial Center of Innovation. For example, in the area of robotics, government is saying about industrial automation, mechanization, and so on. So we are working together with Technology Park, where our chairmen are from, together with the University UniKL, for example, to form what is called the National Robotic Center of Innovation. Others are coming into formation. We have been in discussion with KPRJ of Johor, UTM, and UTP, for example, to look into the oil and gas industry requirements and looking at areas of renewable energy and so on. So just to pinpoint some, to show an example of what the concept is all about, this is our initiatives together with SIMDABI. We have discussed with them. Biogas is nothing new. Everybody knows that you leave the palm oil waste in the pond, it produces biogas, but that's detrimental to the environment. Now is the requirement by the government that they must have reactors to contain the biogas, and either you flare it to make sure it doesn't get released into the environment, or you make it for better use. Those are technologies that we have for quite a number of years, but now we have to look at appropriate technology on how we can better use this. So if we can, for example, translate this biogas into a useful material, for example, in our projects here, we were able to purify the methane content of the biogas from 67% to almost 98%. So it becomes a natural gas equivalent. So we call it bio-NG. Then we look for a possibility it to be used as alternative or as a supplement to natural gas, either to be fed into the natural grid or also to be used as fuel for power generation and also as raw material for our chemical industry. So in this concept, working together with SIMDABI, we identified 3 important technology that need to be further enhanced in this the Technofund projects. The first is we need to develop a very high rate biogas production activity beyond the normal ponding process. So we work with a Japanese university and SIMDABI. At the same time, we need there's new development in the way we are able to purify methane. The old process was through water stripping, which is used a lot of water, which is not too friendly. But now there is pressure switching process that is developed in Canada that we can adopt, and also then to see whether this is a better process. So we have a Technofund project funded, and this project was done in Pulau Keri together with SIMDABI. At the same time, gas need to be transported, and normally you use pipelines for that, but gas from palm oil mill will not be sufficient enough to justify a pipeline. So you have to transport the gas. So there need to be another technology of storing and this gas into putting it into a pressure vessel or tank and be able to transport it in a cheaper manner. Okay, so but then of course how much gas is available, that is the question that we need to answer first. So we have this collaborative effort of 7 institutions in the country to look at all the renewable energy resources that we have. From this, it identified that there is an abundant possibility of producing the gas. From this map, for example, just from the red area, it is the Kratung area, for example. This covers an area of about 100 square kilometers, and that's a possibility of production of POME of about almost 1 million ton a year. And also we look at Sabah, and there's possibility of quite a concentrated areas of palm oil mill where this gas can be produced quite effectively. Our estimates, if we add on all the 450 palm oil mills that are available in the country, that we can produce something like 17% of the total natural gas needs of the country. That's quite significant. 17% of the total natural gas needs of the country for energy. So from there on, we put further a proposal under the flagship project funding of MOSTI to build a demonstration plant. This now in progress in Tawau, Sabah, so that kita boleh scale up this process to a commercial scale demonstration plant, to produce enough gas for some commercial use. So the arrangement that we have now is with Sabah Electricity Corporation to use the gas to fire at least some of the diesel-fired power plants that is in operation in Sabah this moment. So through this arrangement, we hope to prove the viability of this technology, and at the same time to mobilize the transport of the gas. For example, we have this technology that we have been working with Professor Fauzi before, the carbon fiber technology, that it is possible to produce lightweight composite tanks from carbon fibers that can withstand the pressure of 200 bar that is needed for the natural gas containment. We have developed this machine called filament winding machine, the scaling up of this, so that we can wind at least 5 tanks or 3 to 5 tanks at one go, so it becomes a manufacturing process. That's involving our engineering development. So you're seeing that technology from different capability are being put together. So now it's possible to produce type 4, that means it's all composite material, fuel tank, that hopefully we can replace the steel tank that is used by Petronas to transport natural gas. Just to an illustration, these tanks, you need, to transport 1 ton of gas, you need 15 ton of steel to contain it. So that means this lorry load, to carry 1 ton, it weighs about 15 ton. So with composite tank, we hope to reduce that weight by at least down to about 30%. So then it becomes economically viable to transport the gas. So this is, again, a combination of technology from collaborative effort that we have for many years. Then putting this together, we hope that we will be able to create this so-called gas superhighway in the eastern coast of Sabah. We know that there is a serious issue of energy, especially for power generation in Sabah, and we hope this can be a solution, at least that brings profitability in the country, on that part of the country. So we are talking about using resources from 100 plants in 5 years. And recently, if you have heard, TMW has started to have MOUs for gas, sale of gas, bio-energy type of gas with various parties in the country. So our vision is maybe one day this gas can also be sold in small pumping station at the mill itself, so that we can have motor cars, we can have cars and motorcycles that is fired by natural gas. Of course, it's already proven in cars, the NGV vehicle, but now we are testing it with bio-NG to replace natural gas and also to use our composite tanks. We are also looking at motorcycle option, that maybe one day the palm oil plantation farmers will not need to go to petrol station. They can just have their filling station be built around their own palm oil mill. So this is a concept that we are trying to put together, so that hopefully along the way kita boleh enhance the process of commercialization of technology. So we agree that it's difficult, it's a long process, but somehow we have to make it possible. So I think what we are trying to do is linking the industry with the university, so that this process becomes much more faster and much more successful in a manner. So we believe in sharing, and has to be win-win, and we hope that we can work with as more parties, more industry, also with more universities in the future, so that kita can move many more technologies forward through this approach. So with that, thank you very much.
Thank you for the interesting presentation on the good luck with Sirim's new industry-focused model for innovation. Dr. Fauzi, Prof, you want to, before we open for Q&A, Prof would like to do a
Because I have to
quick presentation.
do justice to myself. Last night I prepared some slides, you know. So today, you know, as a professor, we need to give some talk. Yeah, just very brief one. I'm not intend to take much of your time, but I would like to share some perspective on innovation and commercialization of R&D through university-industry collaboration. Yeah, we've seen that Datuk Zainal have prepared or presented a very impressive outcome from their works with many partners, and I would like to share something on this. What is the objective actually? If you like something to be in the market, you need the takers. The takers are either industry or community. But we need to know why the industry need this collaboration. Without the industry, we cannot sell, you know, our product. However important or sophisticated our product, like a phone. The best phone is satellite phone. Where's satellite phone now? Because no takers. You know, handphone kita juga. Walaupun kita terpaksa tukar bateri almost every year. But that because the market is there. So we need to know why we need to collaborate with industry. In order to do that, we need to know why industry need. Because of this. I don't want to read. You know, consultancy expert from university. That's why they need university. And why university need them? Because marketing. Professor, engineering, science, technology were not trained to be marketing executive. That's why we need the industry. Now, why university need industry? This is the focus point now, the hot spot. Because if there is no interaction between these two parties or three parties, simpan dalam file je lah, our innovation. Dok gimana kata orang Kelantan kan? Academic mission, knowledge dissemination, right? Promote output, and so forth. Enhance innovation and commercialization. That's why university need industry. Now, what are the characteristics of successful collaboration? Through my experience, we need to identify the objective in the very first meeting. Non-disclosure. You know, the moment the industry came or the moment we went to industry, they know our body language. To me, if the industry said, I am really interested in your product, to me it's very cheap. Very cheap word. Jangan percaya tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, adik kakak. It's my 20 years experience in industry. You know? Datang jumpa Profesor Ulung, saya minat ni. Itu tak payah. If they came with all the prepared document, yes, they are very serious. So, believe me, I've gone through that for almost 15 years. Now, why limited success? Different goal and limited time. R&D, basic, you need 3 to 5 years minimum. Product development, you need another 5 to 10 years. Not even, not counted in demonstration. Another 2-3 years. Barulah boleh generate pitih, kata orang Kelantan. Right? So in some cases, industry tend to take advantage over looseness of university policy and in experience of researchers. You know? In terms of entrepreneurship and commercialization, tak apalah, you know, universiti nak tengok, industri mana nak datang ke universiti. Because of that, we are selling, our ideas free to industry. I've experienced stealing as well from others. Because what? Because of this policy. Tak apalah, kita discuss dulu. So I got some idea, I brought back. Now I'm telling back. So strengthen your policy. Tuh, 9.4 billion in RM10. But tuan-tuan, tuan-puan, adik kakak, 9.4 billion in terms of R&D, the people always said, the research university and other university, research institutions are consuming public money. We are not consuming public money for free. Say, for example, by 2020, we need to go for the next 5 years. We need to produce 11,000 PhD holders. Imagine one PhD holder is cost the government to send to overseas 1 to 1.5 million. Do you think our university consume money for free? No. We even helping to generate the skill, competency, manpower for the country. Inilah adik kakak. Kalau di parlimen, orang kata universiti buang duit, tak betul. Datang jumpa Profesor Ulung kita, dia boleh cerita panjang lebar. Now, I don't want to go this. What is the issue? Why we still got problem? People talking about right partner. People talking about creativity, creating the right strategy, the right ecosystem. Apa dia ecosystem tu? What is the meaning of ecosystem? We are discussing just now. We need industry. We need funders. We need takers. We need human capital. Right? And getting the right people in the bus. Get rid of the wrong people from the bus first, before you drive. Now, this is, if you're talking about innovation, now I move from fundamental as a professor to innovators. If you're talking about commercialization, mean the innovators who create the ideas need to embrace these two with open arms. What is that? Choosing the right partner, creating the right strategy. Who can help you? Who can help you? Come to Syrian. Technovation Park. In university, we have Innovation Commercialization Center. We have business school. The problem masalah is, not many of us capitalize on the existing of this manpower within our institution. Mak Saleh mata biru juga yang kita cari. This is the problem. I used to say one of the industry, very big industry. Agak-agaknya kalau saya pakai contact lens biru, saya makeup putih, agak-agak kalau saya datang jumpa you, definitely you give me a project. Yeah? And those who decide to get in the trenches and run the business themselves also need to master this. The right ecosystem, getting the right people, designing the right organization. This is a problem. Ada universiti A kata, tak gunalah commercialization. Ada satu universiti pula, bagai nak erat commercialization. Because from the university point of view, whether you like it or not, the government will reduce the funding tremendously in the near future, whether you like it or not. So how are you going to survive? How are you going to survive? Yeah? Saya nak tunjuk sikit my proposal. Macam tadi ya. Semua ni kena pergi. So, saya tak nak pergi itu lagi dah. Ni dah cerita dah. My proposal is, kita panjang ni. Ni. This is the demarcation. Whether you like it or not, basic, applied, normally, public sector. But when it comes to pre-com, when it comes to demonstration, the industry have to come in. The problem industry in Malaysia, mana kalau ada industri, minta maaf adik kakak. The industry in Malaysia, very much less interested. Say for example, I don't know what to name the industry. Strategic research, they do it back home. Tak berapa strategik, bagilah ke universiti, ke industri kat Malaysia. This is their mentality. Sorry kalau yang ada kat sini berasa hati, makan cili, dia rasa pedas. What is the gap? Developed Western countries recognize by industry that university set the pace of the frontier technology. But in Malaysia, industry-led curriculum. Apa dia tu? Technology-led curriculum. Come on, brother and sister. University ni bukan kilang nak produce, the ready-made graduate to suit. Say for example, nak kata marah pula, electrical engineering. No, we produce a holistic manpower. It's up to you to remold according to your priorities. We cannot set that. Saya jumpa, boleh cakap Melayu sini ya. I've seen that once in Korea. Because heavily funded by Samsung. And this university was called Samsung University. Ada satu tu yang saya nampak. But in Malaysia, minta maaf adik kakak, we cannot do that. Right? That is the gap. University is a prime source of new and innovative knowledge in the Western. They even realize this and practice this. But in Malaysia, itulah dia. In Malaysia, it's different. We tend to sometimes slightly belittle the role of university. By having said that, sebenarnya I was commissioned with a group of people by Ministry of Education to do the study on this. That's why I presented this slide. In UK and US, activity very high informal. Luncheon ke, high tea ke, that's very high. But dekat Malaysia, yang high apa dia? Training, internship, asyik bagi training, tak habis-habis train. Tak tahu bila nak jadi expertnya. Asyik duk train aja. This is the reason why our innovators are not really keluarga satu. Because tak habis-habis kena train. This is the things that we found during the study. Report ada kat KPT. Not KPM, sorry. What are the lessons learned? The knowledge gap of industry needs. We need to understand this. Industry sometimes, they also does, basic research. Right? Team collaborative learning, these all are the lesson learned. What are the best practice? Select partners, build up trust. Now, before I came here yesterday, I'm negotiating 2 projects with industry. One of the largest industry in Malaysia. Negotiation skill we need to study. We need to study. Go to business school. Ask them to teach us within the university. Negotiation skill. How to win negotiation. Right? This is a model. You know, the other one is the government. Now, we need to understand the quadruple helix. Yeah? So, unique enthusiast, we need to have this team. Kalau harap profesor saja, tak jadi. Because what we are developing is bukan keropok lekor. We are developing high technology. Kalau keropok lekor tak apa, kita gaduh, settle lah. Right? So this is some of the experience. So, me and my team have this. The system that can produce 5,000 liters per hour, solve problem 2,000 people in 1 hour. Proven. Yeah? And this we designed for the not Twin Tower, the Petronas. The very first one in the world, 80 bar. We designed in my lab. This one for Sime Darby. And this one, we sold it, you know, based on our basic research. We even have a patent number there. Yeah? This is some of the system that we have. So I do not want to go into that. Nanti kita kecek mula. I think that's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Interesting enough, the water filter was used during the flood season in Pekan Pahang. Okay, I think for the next session, we don't have much time. I'd like to open up to the floor for questions. Take this opportunity. We have this distinguished personalities. Professor Ulong is here. From industry also is here. Maybe, yes, gentlemen, please identify yourself. Where are you from?
Is it on now? There we go. Assalamu alaikum and a very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, professors. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Prof. Fauzi, because that talk we had years ago convinced me to shift from engineering to innovation for my PhD. Thank you very much, Professor. Well, I wasn't expecting that. My name is Rahmat Shazi, PhD from University of Technology Petronas. I did my PhD over at the UQ, University of Queensland. It's interesting that all 5 panelists spoke of items like researchers being in silos, this university industry networking. Professor Ulong mentioned about the need for a holistic support system. Dr. Wong mentioned about the need for these, risk management, because you mentioned hopefully the links work. Hope. Yep. So that implies there's a level of risk. The presence of risk implies the need for trust, relating to what Professor Fauzi mentioned earlier. And then Dr. Fakri mentioned about this operation society and how universities used to produce these human capital that Pak Allah used to mention. And then Dr. Zainal mentioned about those particular models. But I would like to highlight something. All of that really highlights procedures, operations, control, in other words. Now, in social network, in innovation research, for the past 20-odd years, there's been a lot of development into what's called the effective element of social capital, not human capital, the complement to human capital, which is social capital. What happens when people interact? How do you manage trust within the organization? And research have shown that trust is the crux of the creation of that very important ecosystem, getting the right ecosystem. Guess what? Who are the experts on that? Sociologists, psychologists. Let me ask you a question, an honest question. How many of you would be happy if you went back home and your children go up to you and say, Mak, Bapa, saya nak belajar, saya nak jadi psychologist. How many of you would be thrilled? How many? Not many, right? If somebody wants to be a medical doctor, yes. Right. Engineer, yeah, wonderful. Psychologist, hang gila ke? Anak masuk hospital tampoi ke? That's probably where you work. When I was in the UQ, I spent 5 years, I was in Australia for 5 years, completed my PhD, worked over there. what I found was this. A lot of our undergraduate students, when they graduate, especially those with degrees in psychology and sociology, they can't get jobs here, except perhaps in mental hospitals. Sorry to say. They get jobs in Singapore, in Australia. These countries appreciate this holistic view that Professor Ulo mentioned earlier. We are missing that out. So my proposal is this, that you top guns start driving that change instead. If you want to change the mindset, we need to manage trust. We need to manage the business networks within this in order to guide the right people, in order to get the right ecosystem. If you don't drive that change, things will never change. That's my point. However, you may agree or disagree, so I guess we'd like to hear your perceptions on that. Thank you very much.
Any comment from the panel members?
Well, I think we have some experience that from a socialist, psychologist or sociologist, we have a problem with him. Forest economics, sociologists, they are not researcher. Tak boleh dapat 5% critical allowance. JPA don't allow that. We have one sociologist with us, with FRIM, for the last 25 years on contract. 3 years contract, special. Because FRIM is a statutory body, we managed to convince the JPA representative in our board to allow him to continue because we think he is a scientist. A sociologist is a scientist. We need sociologists in the research institute, right? So we managed to get, and he retired last year, 60 years old. Contract for the last 25 years, but he didn't lose out. He had all the perks except the 5% critical allowance. And now we are employing him on contract. But the current problem with the JPA procedure is that sociologists is classified as non-scientists. They will not be under Q, so they cannot be employed. So for researchers, we are very lucky in the sense that you get your parallel promotion until Q54. No need for vacancy. Whereas if you are under the non-scientists, economists, sociologists, you have to wait for the grade to create a vacancy for promotion. So therein, we have problem now. I cannot employ any more economists, and I cannot employ any more sociologists in FRIM. So we have this problem, and we take in sciences. I graduated with forestry. So I was placed as a forest economist. So I was under the Q science, so no problem with that. I branched out into forest economics. Right? But now, current system, there's no way, and I appreciate the point that you brought up, and hopefully the policymakers take note of that. You need to consider sociologists and economists to be incorporated as scientists. They are scientists, they are helping. We do feasibility studies. We need economists to do feasibility market development. They are all classified as non-scientists. So it's an issue, and then the 5% critical allowance means a lot. And that's where, that is a very pertinent issue. I think maybe the other, from the universities and the private sector may want to say that.
Maybe I just add on to our wood friend. I think it's a very important question. The question that has been raised, going to have intense debate, discussion on this matter. I think it's a very important factor that been raised. As you know, I did say earlier, because we are still, our innovation started in the last 10, 15 years. You must understand that as compared with respectively to America or to Europe, to Japan, they are there more 100 or 200 years. We are just about 15 years, so we cannot expect wonders. I am very sure in due times this thing will be rectified. I think because all our bureaucrats, they have very clear, they are quite, I wouldn't say stereotype, but I would say that they have very clear, definite things that they look at. What we normally say, thinking in a box. So to move innovation, we have to move out from the box. We have to see things outside the box. That's why we say outside the box. So to be able to think outside the box, you cannot be in the box. If you are still in the box, you still think in the box. So to push innovation, I think the idea of having the psychologists and so on are very important. Right? There is no denial about that. But the most important thing that we have to realize, we have to give time and space for innovation to take place. I think it's been presented well by Prof. Fauzi on the innovation done in most universities. Most universities have done quite great innovation. But the only issue, are we competing with the industry? I'll give you one example. Korean Telecom, they do a lot of R&D as compared to, similarly with our Telecom Malaysia, they also do R&D. But Korean Telecom do a lot of R&D, they innovate a lot of new ideas in communication. But they don't compete in the commercialization. They don't compete. They take the whole idea, the whole product and give to the industry to develop. They don't compete, they just function like that. They provide the knowledge, they build the research, the idea, they make the prototype and give to the industry. Similarly with KAIST, K-A-I-S-T, World-Renowned Research Institute. They don't compete. But what we are doing in this country, we are asking our university to commercialize, to compete with the industry. That's quite difficult because we expect too much from a person. First, we have to teach, research, innovate, commercialize. You cannot expect all these four or five functions to be loaded on a single person. They become so ineffective. You find that it becomes so thin, there will be no depthness. So I think, like what they mentioned by the person just now, it's very important. We have to understand innovation in the most holistic view to see the value chain, and everybody will play a role actually. So people in the university, I think I would prefer, what Prof. Fauzi may not agree with me in total. We would like to do what we are good at, teaching and build up knowledge base. And then from there, the industry should come in and take the idea and bring up into the market. But that, as pointed out by Prof. Fauzi, our industry is not there. There's a whole problem. As compared to the wood industry, they can cut the wood, they can make into furniture, they can sell. We are high-tech, we can't do that actually. So we have to compete. Our topic of research, like we have to compete with Steve Jobs and so on. So the area is different from the natural product industry, like wood, katakan, biotech. They are different industry. Some of us are in different industry that is more competitive. We have to compete in a worldwide market. That's the main problem. But the idea presented by our colleague from FRAME, I think more of the university has that. Last 20 years we have that. We have IP office, we have TTO, we have that last 20 years. But the only problem we have issues to bring the product into the market because having patent to commercialize, industry must come in, but industry is not there to pick up all the patent that has been developed. As you know, patent in the world, only 0.3% are commercialized. It's not all patent that you file are commercialized actually. Okay.
I think in
Dr.
the context of what we are trying to do, there are elements of sociology and issues there. I think the key issue that we're looking at is actually culture, and also mindset of our researchers and also the industry itself. Take example of E3 in Taiwan. E3 is very much similar to what CIRIM is, Industrial Research Institute of Taiwan. It's a 6,000 researchers institute, but at every single moment there is 3,000 researchers waiting to join E3, with a mindset of they are not joining E3 to gain employment until they retire, but they are going to use E3 as a vehicle for them to be entrepreneurs. Because of course it's a culture issue, because in Chinese culture you always want to be a tauke. So I think this is something that we have to develop here. Have to attract our researchers to find that motivation internally, that they want to do research so that the day will come when they want to become entrepreneurs. So they are not going to join CIRIM to be the permanent employee. They are not asking for that. They want a contractual arrangement where they can do their development, their innovative development, so they become very successful. You look at German model, different model. German, they like to be employed to do very high quality technology. So they want to be attached to very good companies. Yeah? They want to work for Mercedes, they want to work for BMWs, so that after a few years, they can practice their knowledge, join back Fraunhofer, for example, to do very good science, very good technology development. So I think we have to develop this culture within kita punya society. So we have to develop ways and means of attracting people to think similarly. So these are models we have to experiment with moving forward in the future.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Zainal. So, because time is running up, we have to end this session. Again, I would like to express on behalf of MOSTI appreciation for our distinguished guests, for their thoughts, their presentation, their ideas. And I think we should collaborate more with the industry, as in summary, so that the industry role in terms of innovation is more, it's not just a passive, non-risk-taking attitude. Okay, so they must take advantage of what we have in university. We have a lot of good patent products ready for commercialization. With that, I would like to end this seminar. Thank you.
Right, thank you so much, Yang Berbahagia Datuk Engineer Haji Muhammad Azman and the panelists for this interesting session. With that, we would like to invite Yang Berusaha Dr. Zulkifli bin Muhammad Hashim, Timbalan Ketua Setiausaha Sains MOSTI, up on stage to present a token of appreciation to our moderator and our panelists. Once again, thank you so much for everyone. Right now, we would like to invite everyone for a photo op. Thank you so much. Right, ladies and gentlemen, for your information, the recording of today's session will be made available at www.mosti.gov.my/nice2015 by 6:30 p.m. So if you're interested to download or to revisit the discussion, you can check out www.mosti.gov.my/nice2015 by 6:30 p.m. today. And another announcement is you can drop the survey form on your way out inside the box at the door. Okay, and everyone is invited to have lunch, which is made available in ballroom 2, which is located on my right-hand side. So I will see everyone again at 2:30 p.m. for our next session.